Hello, and welcome to another engaging episode of Stan the History Man. And today I have a playlist. I want to talk about my low-tech PhD and how we did it back then. And it's quite a different way of doing it than nowadays. And one of the things I want to talk about, maybe first deal with, one of the most important things is note taking, and everything was physical. In other words, here's a piece of a cardboard, 3x5 card. We had 5x8, whatever, and then we take notes on this from some of the material, the study that we have, which I'll talk about, and then we put them into an old recipe box, let's say, probably made out of wood or metal, and then it was divided by different index cards here, and that would let's say I'm writing on, here we go, the index cards. And, well, okay, see, rather dog-eared index cards and an old recipe book, something like that, whatever. I mean, it doesn't have to be that. And I think you need several, you need maybe two or three more of these. And that is how, then in there would be a series of index cards sticking up here. You can see how they're sticking up. And that would be labeled. Let's say I'm doing like my work on ironclads. So one would be engines of ironclads. Another one would be deployment of ironclads, cost of ironclads. So between these, there might be 20, 30, even 100 cards, but you could work your way through it. So that's sort of the physical way, the tactile way that we took our notes at that time. I think in a way it actually stuck in our brains later, but that's maybe another story. So I just wanted to a few other things, of course, that we used at the time. For example, typewriters, and not electric typewriters. They were just coming in then. And I had a professor at Columbia that had an electric typewriter. I thought, wow, that's really something. But looking back, they're kind of clumsy. And an old-fashioned, you had to hit the keys with your fingers to have it work. So that was the typewriter. And, of course, all the notes that we took were done in pen or pencil. If you're dealing with documents, you couldn't use it, take a pen in with you, or you had to just do it in pencil and then later on write it in pen so it wouldn't fade. So that would be another thing. Also, the material that we had for note taking, well, we keep it in a briefcase. Well, today briefcase only used by hotshot lawyers, I guess. But then every graduate student had a briefcase in which you had these cards and your pens and pencils, your lunch maybe, because most of us as starving graduate students would have to eat a sandwich or something. So the other thing that was so tactile was the card catalog. You had to go to this series of drawers, long drawers, usually, especially at a research university, long drawers with a whole bunch of card catalogs, okay? And some of them were back in the days almost before typewriters. It's the 1960s, 50 years old, almost turn of the century. So some actually written there in pen and ink. Now, not all, or some were typed up and so on, but they would take up, half the room would be a card catalog. And the thing was, they were, I say, almost a work of art. I mean, the card catalog, in a sense, was the heart of a research university, okay, especially liberal arts, okay. And so, obviously, they had to, have it look very, very good to be an adornment to the university. So they were always, made of hardwood, brass framing, and at the bottom of the drawer, each drawer is a little metal rod, which could be withdrawn if you had to add cards or take them out. But of course, you better not take them out. But you as a graduate student, maybe the librarians have to work on it or something. So in a way, that was one appeal for the computer. It got rid of all that card catalog business. Another tactile thing we had was the, you might say, well, how could you, what you typed up, I mean, couldn't you have it somewhere? How do you save it? I mean, today we save it on the computer. Well, it's called carbon paper. And so here you're typing up a sheet of paper, the white paper, and then black carbon paper, then the other sheet as the copy. So you would make one copy when you're typing up the what for you would be the final draft. Of course, your major professor will finally say whether it's a final draft or not. So the carbon paper is something that that's long gone. Not to mention the apparatus that went with the typewriter. You had whiteout. You make a mistake, you have to white it out. You had erasers. Another thing you could do is erase a mistake. And the problem there would be a lot of the well of your typewriter would often be filled with old rubber scrapings and just general crud, hair or dust or something. And so you'd have to get a needle and go between these lines there and get this stuff out of your typewriter. So it's a lot of physical things that probably a lot of people. Do you know what whiteout is? So that we had to deal with it, and we'd hear stories every now and then. The person might have his final draft. He's ready to give it to the professor, and he lost it on the subway. It's not funny, but I mean, we now I never actually met someone like that, but there are always rumors going around about your dissertation being, or somebody's dissertation being left somehow or whatever. I remember the story of what was it? Carlyle, the philosopher and historian, and was completed a history of the French Revolution, and his maid used it to start a fire. He sat down and wrote it again and finished it. So maybe a few more gray hairs in him, but there you go. So anyway, that's just a few of the tactile differences to make a low-tech PhD. Thanks for listening.